Good evening and welcome to the League of Women Voters of Sarasota County Forum for Sarasota County School Board. My name is Sean Bartelt and I'm the Vice President of the Sarasota County League. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan public policy organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We hold these forums as a public service. The League does not support or oppose political candidates or parties at any level of government. Today, we welcome 3 candidates running for Sarasota County School Board. The Sarasota School Board election is a nonpartisan election. There are seats open in 3 districts, and these are elected at large, meaning all voters can vote for all districts. All the candidates running for this election were invited to participate in this forum. Those not attending were unable to due to scheduling conflicts that did not respond to our invitation. Early voting begins on August 13th and runs through August 21st. Election day is August 23rd. The forum will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, social media, and other media outlets as determined by the Sarasota League. The recording is the property of the Sarasota League. Written permission must be sought for the use of the video, and the video may not be edited or altered from its original format, and any future broadcast must be made in its entirety. And now I present our moderator and Sarasota League member, Margaret Bryant.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. And a special thanks to our candidates, Danielle Singleton, Lauren Kernoff, and Nora Setek. We very much appreciate your being with us in advance of this very important election. For our format, you, the candidates, will be asked the same questions and will have the same time limits to respond. For the first and last questions, you will be allowed 2 minutes each to respond. For each of the other questions, you will have 1 minute to answer. You will see a timer countdown to let you know when your time limit is approaching. The timer will beep when time is up. Our Zoom host will assist the candidates with mute and unmute as needed. The audience will be muted, and we ask the audience also, if you can, to please stop your computer video. So please take a moment to do that now. I will alternate among candidates who answers first, so that no one candidate will always go first or last. The first set of questions were developed by the League of Women Voters Sarasota County, and the second set was submitted by our audience. The audience questions may have been edited or combined, and not all questions may have been used. Due to time constraints and the venue for our forum, we will not be able to pose questions to the candidates from the chat. The League of Women Voters Sarasota County is committed to the principles of open democratic debate and respect for others, even when there is disagreement about public policy and issues. This forum will be conducted without rebuttals. We ask all forum candidates to speak only for themselves and not to provide information about or insight into their opponents. We look to candidates to help us understand their policy positions, problem-solving skills, and values so that we can make better choices as informed voters. So if everyone's ready, let's begin. Ms. Singleton, to you first. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your background. You have 2 minutes to respond.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Danielle Singleton. I am a native of Sarasota and a proud product of the Sarasota County Public School System. I attended Alta Vista Elementary, Sarasota Middle School when it was on School Avenue, and a proud graduate of Sarasota High School. After high school, I attended and graduated from Florida State University with a major in communications. I attended art school after that and was a graphic designer for a number of years until my focus turned to education. I was an administrator for 6 years at an all-boys public charter school called Visible Men Academy. In that role, I finished as the director of programming, putting together summer literacy programs, after-school programs, and mentoring programs at that school as well. Until recently, last month, I was an executive assistant at 40 Carrots Family Center, where we had a preschool, we had parenting education, and also child and family therapy. I am running for school board to protect public schools. I believe in public school education and that all children should have high quality public school experience and an education.
Thank you. Ms. Kernoff, next, and you have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for organizing this forum. My name is Lauren Kernoff, and I am running for the Sarasota County School Board District 4 seat. So like Danielle, I grew up here in Sarasota, and I went through our public school system, and now I'm the proud mother of 2 kids, Zach and Raina, who attend Sarasota County Public Schools. Locally here in Sarasota, I have worked for New College of Florida, and I've worked for the University of South Florida on the Sarasota Manatee campus. And last year, I completed my doctorate in education. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity with an open seat to be able to bring my voice and my perspective as both a parent and an educator to the school board. And really, I'm getting involved in this because I feel strongly that political issues have just dominated the conversation these last couple of years, and we're ignoring real issues that affect our kids. Most of my career has really focused on career development and career readiness. So helping students to sort of think through what their natural skills and talents and abilities are and what career fields those translate into. I'm really eager to bring that focus to our school district. We have a fantastic school district with a 92% graduation rate, but we're not tracking post-secondary outcomes. So we really don't know how our students are faring or what they're up to after they graduate from our high schools. I'm really eager to bring that focus to our school district, get more parents and community members involved in serving as mentors, enhancing internship experiences for our students. So that's one major focus I plan to bring to our school district. I also feel strongly that we need to expand access to early childhood education programs. That will go a long way to improve our reading scores. And we all know that our 3rd grade reading scores dipped down. We're at 37% of our 3rd graders here in our community reading below grade level. I see I only have a couple seconds left. Also really important to support teachers, but I will leave it at that for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Ms. Cetek, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Thank you and welcome. I appreciate the invitation. I am Nora Cetek. I am running for Sarasota County Board District 5. I am number 8, 10 children. I was the first in my family to go to college, and I have a master's degree in educational psychology. I come from a strong family that taught me the importance of family, responsibility, and love of service. My father was a World War II veteran and my mom and a school custodian, and my mom was a school bus driver. They taught me that serving the community is not only a responsibility, but a privilege. I've served my entire 30-year career in education. I have been a special education teacher, an assistant principal, a principal, and the assistant director of special education. And now I want to serve as school board member in Sarasota County. I have raised 3 children, and proudly they have turned out to be successful adults. I have learned so much from being both an educator and a parent, and I want to apply that to the school board. It just feels like it's a perfect fit for me. There are 3 main areas I want to focus on. One is our A-rated schools. That's wonderful that we're A-rated, but not all schools are A-rated. So I would like to take my expertise and my 30,000-foot view to look at our programs and make sure we have equity in programs, that school has similar programs, and that it shouldn't rely on where you live or what your parents do, whether you get high performing programs or not. And I believe with my experience in special ed that I will be able to lift up those programs also and ensure that they're getting the needs that they that they have to have. So I would say that every child and every teacher can excel if they have the right materials and supports. The second thing is I want to refresh our mental health climate. There has been an enormous amount of pressure on teachers lately, and that trickles down to students. And I'm very concerned that we do not have the supports in our schools. We have 36 schools and only 20 social workers. That is very
Thank you.
problematic as an educator. As a
Thank you.
principal and assistant principal, I've had to work under conditions where you didn't have enough support staff, and it's felt by everyone. This
Thanks,
past
Nora. You're out of time. You're out of time. That's
shocker.
okay. You have a lot to
Sorry.
say. That's quite all right. We're going to move into the next set of questions. These were developed by the League of Women Voters, Sarasota members. As I said, I will state the question once rather than repeat it 3 times, but if you need it repeated, just please let me know and I'll do so. You will have 1 minute to answer these questions. Ms. Kernoff, what specific skills would you bring to the school board, and how do you think these will contribute to the board's work?
Great question. I will bring my skills as a collaborator, as someone that has a real data-driven approach to problem solving. So, the work that I did in my graduate program and my doctoral program really have to have a lens of looking at what is every piece of literature that's ever been written that goes against what your hypothesis is. And so then you take your idea, your hypothesis, and you have to say, well, now that I've looked at every single piece of criticism against this, now I understand this idea that I had only works in this context and under this set of circumstances. And so I'll take that skill that I developed through my training, that real critical lens, to say, what are the programs that are working well, that are serving our students, and what are those that we need to take a real hard look at. Also, just collaborative approach. I'm a parent, so I can certainly work collaboratively, understand the important role that parents have. So listening, empathy, and sort of a collaborative problem-solving approach.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
And Ms. Cetek, 1 minute, please.
I think the biggest piece that I have to contribute to would be my collaborative working with having parents, teachers, and students at the table, having a voice, and working through some really tough issues. Again, with my special ed, my ESE background, exceptional student background, it helps to be respectful to each other and to have some of the hard conversations. And we're going to be having a lot of hard conversations this next year. And to ensure that everyone has a voice and that everyone feels that they're valued and they have a contribution. I also am a huge data-driven person. We need to have some heavy lifts in our district, and we need to ensure that the decisions we make are based on data and not on hearsay. I'm giving back some time.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Singleton, to you for 1 minute, please.
So I bring a lived experience as a product of the Sarasota County Public School System. I also will come with diversity, bringing diversity to the board and looking at student life through a different lens. I have a lot of Title I education experience, and I know the challenges and the successes of trying to educate in Title I. I think of many of those students first when certain things happen, and a lot of those students and families need those resources. So I bring that, and the main thing I will bring is calm and decorum. I do believe that it's well needed at our school board meetings right now.
Thank you. Okay, question 2 to Ms. Cetek. Why are you running for the school board? 1 minute.
Honestly, because of all of my vast experience in education, I feel that I can elevate our situation that we're in right now. I am calm. I like to respond rather than react. And I feel like, having been a teacher's assistant and then putting myself through school and then achieving what I have in my jobs, it gives me that 30,000-foot view that is going to really enrich my interactions with people. So what I will bring to it is all of that knowledge and the respect. I guess I would just want to put that in big letters. I think we've veered off course, and we've forgotten how to engage respectfully and disagree in a more appropriate manner, and I'm hoping to bring that to the board.
Thank you. And to Ms. Singleton, you have a minute.
Right now, our public schools, our teachers and administrators are under attack. And this is my hometown, and I could not sit back and just hope someone else would run and pray that things would get better for our students. I have a background in education and volunteering in this community for a number of years. And I knew that my background and my passion for this community and my just wanting the best for all the children in this community was reason enough to really do something about it. And it's also a chance to make history. I will be the first African-American person on the Sarasota County School Board. So those were all my motivations for running.
Thank you. And Ms. Kernoff, you've got 1 minute, please.
Okay, so I'm running because, I'm from Sarasota. I grew up here. I'm deeply invested in this community. And I also have real skin in the game as a parent with children that are currently attending our public schools. So I started to sort of pay attention to these school board meetings as a parent, over the last couple of years. And really, I've just been personally appalled by the political rhetoric that has overtaken what really should be a forum that is completely focused on educational issues that are affecting our students. So I am driven and motivated to do this because I care deeply as a parent, as a native of this community, and as someone with educational experience and a dogged persistence to really always redirect the conversation back to educational outcomes. And that's my commitment. And I think that that's what's desperately needed in our community.
Okay, thank you. New question. Ms. Singleton, to you. How will you handle differences of opinion among school board members? And do you plan to participate in the Florida School Boards Association's training programs? You have 1 minute.
Yes, I am a lifelong learner, so any leadership or training programs that would enhance my position, I definitely plan on participating in. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry.
How
How
will
will I
you
get along with other school board members? That is my top priority, is to get along with everyone and to collaborate. We will probably have differences of opinion, but I think finding common ground and just respecting each other, respecting everyone's point of view and perspective and just overall backgrounds. I look forward to learning more from each and every school board member because we all will have different strengths that will only make us better, but just collaborating and getting along with my fellow board members.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kernoff, you have 1 minute.
Sure. So I too would, plan to participate in any professional development and training that would allow me to do my job as effectively as possible. In terms of, I guess, handling differences, I think that it's really our responsibility as leaders on the school board to model civility and to model respect. And so, it's true that we're not always going to see the problem in the same way. We're not always going to see the solution in the same way or arrive at the same solution. We may agree on the problem, but not the solution. We may not even see the problem in the same way. But it's just terribly important that we treat each other with respect and civility. And I think if we can do that as school board members, it sets the right tone to our teachers, to our parents, to our principals, to our students, most importantly, to really see adults respecting each other and coming together to find the best solution to benefit our students.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Seatek, you have a minute.
Oh, sorry. Timer needs to pay
That
attention.
went very fast. I will tell you, as one of 10 children, one of 12 in my family, there was a lot of dealing with differences and trying to find commonality. And that's the one thing that I feel very strongly about. And that is that we have to be, like I said before, respectful and appreciate people's perspectives. It's really exciting for me to be coming out of retirement and to feel that passion about learning. And we spent a whole year learning about running and all that we need to learn about Sarasota and Sarasota County schools. So I look forward to having training, but I also look forward to hearing other people's perspectives and being respectful and appreciating that I might not know all the answers, even though I've done what I have. I like fresh perspectives. I have 2 young gentlemen on my team. One's 18 and one's 19. And I love their perspective and what they have to share. And I value them and they know that. And that's how I want to lead.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kernov, what community connections do you have, especially with various demographic backgrounds in our community? And what specific steps will you take to improve the relationship between the school board and the community? 1 minute, please.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm a parent. So, I'm deeply connected to other parents, just the many years that my children have been attending public school here in Sarasota, starting back in kindergarten. So now we're going on, this will be coming up on 8 years. So certainly I will be able to bridge those connections with other parents, with teachers at the schools that my children, have attended and are currently attending. I'll be able to, forge those connections. And, just various organizations in the community that I've been a part of. But really, I think, the primary focus really needs to be on parents and teachers and students. And I'm connected to all of those communities because I am a parent. So I'm engaged naturally with schools as a parent and collaborating with teachers. And then obviously I've gotten to know many students through my own children. So just maintaining those relationships and all the different organizations in our community that I'm connected with and that do so much for our students as well.
Thank you. Ms. Singleton, you have 1 minute.
Okay, well, being a native, I have a lot of community connections. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We are a sorority that we do a tremendous amount of service opportunities in both Sarasota and Manatee County. I'm a member of ASALA and the Sarasota chapter of the NAACP. And I've been involved with nonprofits and I support a lot of them in the community that have great programs for our children, families, and the community as a whole. My idea would be to invite many of these groups and organizations to school board meetings. It says 21 seconds. Is that okay? Okay,
Yeah,
I heard a little beep.
no, go ahead.
No, I would invite these groups. Many of them have mentoring programs for kids in middle and elementary and high school as well. Invite them to school board meetings and share the activities that they've been doing. So that's how I could get them more involved with school board.
Thank you. And Ms. Seatek, 1 minute for the same question.
I work Turtle Patrol and I've done it 3 days a week for the last 4 years. So I've got to meet some really interesting people through that. And it's been great to be working with the environment. I have engaged in many different activities within the different communities so that I can get a better feel for who the people are that I'll be working with. I've been mentoring a young woman from Vietnam for the last 3.5 years. And she didn't speak English. I didn't speak Vietnamese. So it was very interesting. And to get immersed into her culture was great. I am also a member of ASALA and I belong to a church. And I'm big on getting people from the community come in and to share their skill set so that children can start to see and start to envision where they could be in their future. So exposing children to different jobs and to different people is really important.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ms. Singleton,
Sorry.
we're going to do something a little bit different just for the next 3 questions. Well, to all the candidates. These are quick, like lightning round type questions. And so please answer in brief without explanation, approximately 10 seconds for each question. So we'll start with you, Ms. Singleton. What are the 3 most critical issues facing the school board?
I think the 3 most critical issues include right now getting along with one another, reacting to a very vocal minority group of parents, and I can't think of another one, but those would be.
Okay. We'll give you another one. What are the three most critical issues facing students?
Mental health, mental health, mental health.
And what are the three most critical issues facing teachers?
Mental health, not respected.
Thank you. Ms. Cetek, same three most critical issues facing the school board?
I think the civility one, working with staff and parents and feeling like they're being heard. And just the simple fact that we need to respond and not react.
And the three most critical issues facing students?
I hate to echo, but in this case, I don't mind at all. I think mental health is a huge, huge issue. And if we don't address it, we're going to continue to see violence in our communities and across the country.
And the three most critical issues facing teachers?
Respect, changing of curriculum so they can't prepare fast enough, and mental health.
Thank you. Ms. Kernoff, the same to you, three most critical issues facing the school board?
Okay, so in terms of the school board, I think the three most critical issues are the political divisiveness that we see at our meetings, our local issue around grade level reading outcomes for our third graders, and the teacher shortage.
Thank you. And the three most critical issues facing students?
Our, reading proficiency for our third graders, so really academic outcomes and COVID learning loss, mental health, absolutely, and career outcomes for our high school students, our graduating students.
Okay, and what are the three most critical issues facing teachers?
So I would say for teachers, it's compensation, making sure that they're paid equitably, fairly, so they can afford to live in our area, and really respect and civility from the community is a huge issue.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go back to the 1-minute answers now. Thanks for that. Ms. Singleton, what measures do you believe should be enacted to prevent gun violence in our schools?
I think that we need to have better relationships with students and teachers and students and others that work at the school, be it counselors. I think we need more counselors and social workers in our schools for sure. And I think we need to put a bigger emphasis on social emotional learning. I think we need to give students the tools to cope with disappointment. Students shouldn't always be isolated and eating by themselves at lunch or not really seen having relationships with others. Learning about coping and how to deal with stress. These are all lifelong skills that we all need. And I think that having these measures in place will stop students from being isolated and having bad ideas fed into them. We need to take a look at the social media, put some caps and guidelines on social media as well, because that's really dangerous to some children.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cetek, same question, 1 minute, please.
I think in reference to giving children more support in the sense of attaching an adult to them, a supportive adult, ensuring that we create lists of students who are in crisis and look throughout the community as well as our school community to ensure that we have eyes on students, see who bubbles up, who's getting the support, who needs more help. I think that would be really critical. And I think our biggest point is the mental health piece. We need to make sure that we are cognizant of who's in crisis, where they are in that system, and how we can provide them with strategies so that they can be successful.
Thank you. And Ms. Kernoff, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, sure. This is something I think about a lot as a parent. Incredibly scary times to be a parent right now. I think, knock on wood, all it takes is one incident. Of course, we all know that, but Sarasota County has put a number of safety measures, protective measures in place, single points of entry in our schools. All sorts of measures are in place, but, we know that incidents can still happen. I think, one really concrete thing, simple thing that we could do, and I would advocate for, is making sure that our schools are sending home information about safe gun storage for our families. I think that that's a really important, simple step, an educational piece that we should be advocating for, and that schools should be following. I'm grateful that we have the red flag law here in Florida that allows folks to let law enforcement know if someone is displaying concerning behavior, to where that person's weapons can be removed. But absolutely, we need to invest more in mental health and social emotional learning. This is not a time when we should be scaling back on those programs, but really investing more.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, and Ms. Seatek, to you. To address the significant shortage of teachers, what do you think the school board should do with respect to hiring and retaining well-qualified teachers? A minute, please.
I would like us to use the vast amount of retirees like myself who have been educators to be mentors to our young people. I would love us to have a rigorous professional development that is connected with the strategic plan, but also asking teachers what they need so we can give them meaningful dialogues and meaningful opportunities for them to grow. And I think that our biggest piece is that we need to make sure that they are respected and they are appreciated and they know their worth.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kernoff, 1 minute, please.
Sure. So I go back to sort of the data-driven approach. I've learned that our school district is not collecting data from exit surveys when teachers do leave our school district, that we're not asking them, why did they leave? Did they leave for a teaching job in another school district, or did they leave the profession altogether? So first of all, we need to be asking our teachers who are leaving why they're leaving. We need to be asking our teachers who are returning, what sorts of supports do they need to feel that that they can do their job as effectively as possible. And then we do need to pay our teachers more equitably. It's true that Sarasota County pays a higher teacher salary than some other counties and many other counties throughout the state, but nationwide, we know Florida ranks 48th out of 50 states in terms of teacher pay. And we're not going to be able to hang on to our excellent teachers if we don't address that issue. And we need more teachers in our classrooms so that we can shrink class sizes. That allows teachers to do their jobs more effectively, and also it's going to improve student outcomes.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Singleton, same question, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I agree with everything Nora and Lauren said. I would like to have our teachers in focus groups. Let's bring our teachers in on these conversations at the top level, give them leadership opportunities. We like to talk about what the teachers need, but is anyone really talking to them and finding out exactly, the ideas that they have? So I would like to just get with the teachers in focus groups, and not just a one and done, something that's ongoing and that we can assess and see how ideas are shaping up, and get that teacher input straight from the teachers to help solve the teacher shortage and ways to recruit and retain our high quality teachers.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Ms. Kernoff. In light of recent state legislation with respect, do you need a minute?
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm here.
Okay.
Something
No problem.
happened. My apologies.
In light of recent state legislation with respect to curriculum and textbooks, what strategies would you propose to ensure educators are able to access the tools they need to meet educational standards while still allowing for parental input? 1 minute.
Yeah. Well, we have always had a process in place where parents can give feedback to teachers and to our media center specialists about any particular text that they wouldn't want their child to read. So there's a collaborative process at the district level where parents and teachers, community members are involved in selecting books. And that process has really worked. So, we all know that this year there was a list of books that was approved, and teachers were already beginning to train on these new materials. And then the state, which, the state certainly has the right to do this, but the state decided to revisit those textbooks, which created a lot of disruption for our teachers. So what I would do on the school board is make sure, reach out to the state, reach out to our legislators to try to get some clearer guidance about, what are the goals that they're looking for in terms of these textbooks, to make sure that at the local level, we're selecting textbooks that are going to move through the process and not encounter these last minute changes.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Singleton, same question, 1 minute, please.
So this year with the textbooks was really an anomaly. There were a lot of things that did not go the way as far as the approval process and screening that it had gone in the past. And I think that, as Lauren said, parents have always had the rights and to review curriculum and different materials. Everything's announced, it's all transparent. So I think that we just need to continue doing that. And as far as our teachers need to have correct, true, and accurate professional development to teach history, social studies, civics, everything in the correct and true, proper way. And they shouldn't be bribed to learn new history, which seems to be happening. So.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Cetek, same question, 1 minute, please.
Again, there is that system in place. I'm concerned that if it isn't being followed, maybe we need to articulate that a little better, meet with parents, talk to them about the process. Maybe we can fine tune it. I do think that this is a unique situation. I think we need to be cognizant of the fact that we are going to start to have very difficult conversations with people as we navigate this new normal of things coming out that we're not really following procedure on in reference to textbooks, like Danielle said. I think the biggest piece is that we are constantly focusing on communication and ensuring that we are based on facts and data and not simply people's thoughts of what may be happening. We need to be basing our conversations on factual incidences.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, Ms. Singleton. Do you support higher standards and increased access to early childhood development programs such as voluntary pre-kindergarten? And if so, how?
Yes, that is definitely one area that I am laser focused on, is the high quality early childhood education. A lot of people don't know this, but 52%, I think it's actually 57% of the students born at Sarasota Memorial Hospital are born into poverty. So if you look at that number and then you look at the next few years as far as early childhood education, those odds don't look really good. It's so important to talk to your babies and to get your kids in high quality early childhood education programs. A lot of students that start kindergarten, they have not had any early childhood education, so they're already starting at a deficit. So I'd like to see more VPK programs, voluntary pre-kindergarten programs. I'd like to see more of those in more schools, especially our Title I schools, where some of those families don't have access to that high quality early childhood education. And play-based. It's not always about learning numbers and letters. It's about compromise, sharing, learning those skills as well.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kernoff, same question to you for 1 minute, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I support expanding access to high quality early childhood education programs. Danielle's right. We have students starting kindergarten at 5 years old at such varying levels of readiness. Some 5-year-olds that are beginning readers, other 5-year-olds who, have never seen a book or, very limited access to books. So, when you can expand access to pre-K programs, you have more students kind of, developing those letter recognition skills, just acclimating to being in a classroom environment. So once they start kindergarten at 5 years old, they have those building blocks in place and they're really ready to learn how to read. And so absolutely learning skills like cooperation, but also if we can, get these students starting kindergarten really ready to learn how to read, that's going to go a long way also to move the needle on our grade level reading outcomes. We have this issue in 3rd grade with 37% of our students reading below grade level. So we need to expand access even earlier on than kindergarten to address that as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Did I get everyone on that question? I didn't get you.
No,
Ms. Zito,
I didn't.
Sorry.
One of the jobs that I had toward the end of my career was to close a elementary school. It was a community elementary school, and it was our only one. And so the thing that was very interesting is as I'm wrapping up and getting us ready to close, I was approached with asking if I would take on a pre-K class that they needed to start, and they needed room, and I had it in the building. It was so amazing to be part of that. I did teach preschool at the beginning of my career, and to have it toward the end was great because I saw children flourish in a very nurturing environment. They were taught to play and deal with difficulties learning, and I saw children helping each other out, and leveling that playing field is critical. And the only way we're going to do that is to ensure that children are exposed to literature and educational tools prior to kindergarten, because if they're already put behind the 8 ball, how will they ever catch up?
Thank you. All right, next question, and this is to you, Ms. Zito. What steps can or should the school board take to foster diversity, equity, and inclusion in the classroom and with school staff, including teachers and administrators? 1 minute, please.
This was an issue that I had throughout my career, is making sure that we had people working with our students that looked like them. That was a critical issue. And so what we often did was went into the colleges. I actually went with a group of teachers, and we would recruit students to come in to our schools. We also were asking parents to see if they were interested in exposing them to college courses, to see if they could then work in our schools. I think it's critical to be talking to stakeholders and people in the community the diversity that we have here is amazing. And I would like to ask them for suggestions so that we can have people in front of our children that they can connect to, that they can relate with, and that they feel inspired to think outside. As a poor child, I didn't have a lot of those opportunities to know of anyone other than in my little group. And once you open that up, the opportunities and possibilities are limitless.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kernoff, same question for 1 minute, please.
Yeah, so I think certainly in terms of teachers, we need to absolutely be hiring more teachers that have social capital in the communities in which they're teaching. So, when we look at this 37% of our third graders that are reading below grade level, we see that, the schools with diverse student populations are disproportionately represented within that 37%. So we need teachers who are from these communities, who can connect with these students, who also, will be compensated for additional time to support these students, to get them reading on grade level. And this is an issue that's been obviously exacerbated by the pandemic, when we saw this discrepancy widen even more so during the pandemic, when students from certain families had access to resources that other learners did not have access to. So this is a huge issue. I think we need to address it also in terms of our gifted programs and our gifted screening process. We need to make sure that information is communicated to all families about these programs, so that so that all students have access to these opportunities.
Great, thank you very much. Ms. Singleton, same question for 1 minute, please.
I would like to see more reach out to HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, to hire teachers that look like all students, reaching out to African-American fraternities and sororities, again, for more teachers and reaching different families. Teachers need professional development that is delivered by people of color, that is culturally responsible. And I would just like to see more cultural and LGBTQ programs incorporated into our schools, be it different clubs or activities that everyone can learn something from everyone.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, next question. Ms. Kernoff, what is your position on charter schools, both public and private, and the use of taxpayer-funded vouchers?
So I think, in terms of public charter schools, I think once they, if they are truly offering something that's differentiated from what our traditional public schools offer, where they are a real enhancement to our community, then I think they're a welcome addition. And we see, we have some great examples of those sorts of public charter schools in our community. So I'm thinking of Dreamers Academy, Sarasota Military Academy, Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences. These are public charter schools that really do offer their students something different than what's offered in our traditional public schools. I think the approval process for these charter schools should remain at the local level, because who better than community residents to know whether there's a need that isn't being filled. So I think that local control is incredibly important. And so long as we maintain that local control, and the public charter school would offer an enhancement, then I'm supportive of those schools as an addition to our community.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Singleton, same question for 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything Lauren said. I do come from an all-boys public charter school. We were under the guide of the district, and I think that all public charter schools should be, and it should remain at the local level. Every district is different, and you can't have people from hundreds of miles away dictating what's best for your community. So I think it should remain at the local level. Sarasota County does have great charter schools that offer choices for parents. And as Lauren mentioned, Dreamers Academy is a new one that's doing really well. I saw Jerry Chaffee was on the call here, so it's nice to have her on. And yeah, I am not for vouchers. I don't agree with them. And I am for public education and public charter schools.
Thank you. And Ms. Zitek, same question, 1 minute, please.
The funding for all of those vouchers, charter schools, and public schools all come from the public school budget, and we have to be very careful with that. So there needs to be oversight and transparency. I agree with the other two candidates in that I support public charter schools if they supplement what we offer. And we do need to have oversight for those programs before we accept them into our school district, because we have to be careful. Every dollar that is taken to go somewhere else means we're not investing in our children and in our programs. And we have issues, as it's been stated, our reading levels. We have 47% of our students that are entering Booker High that are not at proficiency. That is a concern. They only have 4 years to catch up so that they can then be productive members of our society. So I think the critical thing is, let's look at that. Let's make sure there's oversight and transparency in everything we do.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, Ms. Singleton. What authority should a local school board have when it comes to making health decisions that impact the school district? 1 minute, please.
One of the major tenets of being a school board member is protecting the health and safety of children, teachers, and school communities. And I think that if measures need to be put in place that keep students healthy and keep people literally alive, then I think those measures should be put in place. And also followed, I would follow the medical expertise of medical professionals here in our community.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Zitek, 1 minute, please.
It's the same thing that the governing body requires, that we keep all members safe. And I'm very concerned that this past year we stopped following the advice of medical professionals. It perplexes me, because this was something that was resulting in people dying. And I think that regardless of our individual feelings, as a governing body, we need to ensure that we make decisions that keep all stakeholders safe and healthy.
Thank you. Ms. Kernoff, 1 minute, please.
I agree. We need to absolutely protect the health and safety of our students, our staff, and our faculty. We need to make sure that our schools have nurses that can, care for our students when they're sick. I know that that's, in addition to all the other shortages we've been talking about. We've been focusing more on teachers and support staff, but, bus drivers, this is a huge issue. Nurses, our schools are struggling to fill nurse vacancies too. And so, when we think about student outcomes and making sure that our students are flourishing and ready for their next steps, they need to be able to read, they need to have a plan when they graduate. Well, before any of that can happen, they need to be healthy so that they can focus on learning. So, we need to make sure we're doing everything that we can to protect the health and safety of our students and staff. And we need to make sure we're funding our health centers and our schools so that we are keeping our school community safe and healthy.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, Ms. Zitek. What is your position on embedding social emotional learning into academic subjects? Please answer with any studies or data supporting or disproving a correlation with academic performance. 1 minute, please.
With my experience as the Assistant Director of Special Ed, I supervised social workers, psychologists, guidance counselors, and special ed teachers. I saw what happened when issues were overcoming children and they couldn't emotionally handle them. It impacted their eating habits. It impacted their social emotional well-being. I think it's critical that we put that as high up there as our academics. We need to ensure that our children are able and ready to absorb the information coming at them at rapid speed sometimes. And if we don't teach them self-care, then that equates to adults who are no longer participating and contributing to our communities. So I think it's critical, again, from my firsthand experience, I've seen what's happened when we've ignored that and just deal with the subject area content and not the child as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Kernoff, 1 minute, please.
Sure, I would be happy to cite my own doctoral study where I looked at these issues and the issue of social emotional learning, really in the context of positive youth development, identity development, and purpose. And I specifically looked at middle school students and how do they make sense of their identity and sort of their developing sense of purpose. And so, really what I studied is if students don't have the why, they don't understand what they're heading towards and why, what their interests are and what they're pursuing and really what their purpose is. If they don't begin to do some of that self-exploration, their motivation will dwindle over time. So it's absolutely critical that students have the time and the space to explore what their purpose is, how they're developing, and what their real interests are, because that's really going to fuel their motivation. And so we can't look at these topics in silos. Students need to have that support, and that really will, improve and directly connect to their educational outcomes.
Okay, thank you very much. And Ms. Singleton, same question, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, so I touched on social emotional learning earlier, and I am a big fan. I don't have with me here any specific data, but I do have I've seen it firsthand work. When I was an administrator at Visible Men Academy, we focused a lot on character and social development. So teaching the boys to shake hands and look people in the eye when they talk to them and introduce themselves. And, when there was conflict, we had restorative justice circles, which was it was like a community conflict, a way to address it. Two students that might not have gotten along come together, they have a conversation, and they work out their differences together. And I think that we need to have more of these opportunities for conflict resolution, and just more opportunities, again, for the social emotional learning. And if it is snuck into the academics because there's not enough time for everything, then I am okay with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question. And by the way, that last question and the ones that follow are ones that came from attendees of tonight's event. So Ms. Kernoff, some in our community would like to ban books in our school libraries, which they believe contain inappropriate content. Given the lack of specific guidance so far, from, I'll say, the State Department of Education. I hope I'm saying something correct there. Who should be responsible for determining whether content is inappropriate and by what standards? 1 minute, please.
So I think, as I mentioned earlier, there's always been an outlet for parents to approach the school and let their children's teacher or the media center specialist know if there's a particular book that they don't want their child to have access to. But we absolutely need our students to have access to a wide range of materials. I mean, this is also an issue of making sure that our students are competitive when they graduate from our high schools. Many of the books, some of the books that have been called into question are books that are offered in our advanced placement courses. And so if we're going to be limiting the literature, the advanced literature that our students can have access to, they're going to be at a real disservice when they graduate from our high schools. We want to make sure our students can receive advanced placement credit so that when they start college, they have less of a financial burden to take on. Don't we want our students to be as prepared and competitive as possible when they graduate? And we also want our students to be developing critical thinking skills. I mean, this is, we need to be doing everything we can to get our students ready for their next step. And that, anything to the contrary is a step in the wrong direction.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Ms. Singleton, same question for a minute, please.
So, I love how we put such an emphasis on literacy and reading, but, people want to ban books. It makes no sense to me. I am not a fan of banning books. I think, again, there's enough parents have rights. They have the opportunities to review materials and everything. And if they want to opt their child out, then I think that is fine. I think this was an anomaly, but we've seen it in history. And when you try to shield something from a child and tell them, don't read this or don't do that, that's the first thing they're going to do is try to read it. These students are not happy with this. They're forming banned book clubs and they're reading these books anyways. And as I like to say, this is more dangerous to a child than any book will ever be. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Seatek, please, 1 minute.
Again, there is a system in place. I think this was an unusual situation. I think the thing that I want to stress is that we're talking about developmentally appropriate materials. Teachers, and it's insulting to think that teachers wouldn't be only presenting things developmentally appropriate. When a student, a kindergartner comes over and says, where do babies come from? We can say, well, when two people, and most people do, when two people love each other, they have a baby. Okay, and they toddle off. You wouldn't give that same answer to a high schooler. So you want to make sure that you're honoring the fact that we have professionals that are trained, that understand the developmental milestones. And we need to respect that they're going to expose children to books that are appropriate. When you go to a library, there's the children's section. We wouldn't be asking children to read adult level books. Their brain is not that high functioning as to be able to do that. So let's just be respectful as we start to have attacks on people. Let's realize what is really happening and is it based on fact.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question. Ms. Singleton, do you support continuing to elect school board candidates on a nonpartisan basis by a vote of all eligible voters in the county? Why or why not?
Yes, I support keeping school board nonpartisan. It allows more of the community to vote. And I think that's a good thing.
Ms. Seatek, please, same question.
I wholeheartedly support it being nonpartisan. I would not have run had it been partisan. So I believe in my 30 years, I never vetted people out as to when they came into my building or my classroom or my office. I never had them fill out a question first. And that's where we are now. People are asking friends, neighbors, who do you believe in? And then relationships are being fractured. So I wholeheartedly agree. We need to keep it nonpartisan and everyone needs to have a voice.
Thank you. Ms. Kurnoff?
I agree. Absolutely, school board offices should be nonpartisan. These issues that we're talking about, making sure our students are reading on grade level and graduating with a plan in place and that their mental health needs are being addressed. These are not partisan issues. These are not Democrat or Republican issues. These are student-centered issues. And it's just really important that we always focus the conversation on what are the issues that our students are struggling with, and really partisan politics has no place in these sorts of conversations. And I also do think, I think the second part of your question, whether these elections should remain countywide, and I think that they should. Because you don't want to have a situation where school board members are sort of forced to only focus on the schools or the students within a particular district. You really want school board members who are looking at the school district holistically and who are concerned with every single student, every single classroom, and every single school throughout the district, and how do we move the needle on excellence all around.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, Ms. Zitek. Do you think the school board election should be on the ballot for the primary election or the general election, and why?
I like that it's separate and it's in the primary. I think it's critical that it's seen differently because, again, my battle cry during this election period has been, all my campaigning has been, this is nonpartisan. It's very, very important that it's actually voted on separate so that people see it and view it differently. When we lump it in with everything else, then we're just saying, oh, click, 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 go down with the party I believe in. I do like that if we keep it child focused and child centered, then it should be nonpartisan. It should have its own election so that all the extraneous noise can go to the general.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kurnoff, same question. 1 minute.
Yep, I agree. I think, keeping it earlier on in the election cycle is helpful. I think there's also some kind of nice symmetry to it coinciding almost with the start of the school year, so that you have, parents, students that are getting back to school, starting school sort of in this mindset of a fresh new year. And so I think that, it really makes sense to sort of have these decisions made as we're kicking off a new school year.
Great. And Ms. Singleton.
I agree as well. School board is so important, critical. This has been a concerted effort, and it has to be its own thing. And, first of all, we can't imagine going to November. We've been on this journey for over a year now, and the thought of November is crazy, but I think it deserves its own space. These are the children of our community that needs to have everyone's focus. So I think it should stay where it is. And that is good, Lauren, about it being near the start of school. I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're coming up on the last of the 1 minute questions. Ms. Kurnoff, as a policy matter, should the candidates address the misconception about critical race theory, or CRT, being taught as a, quote, subject in K through 12 grades in the United States? If so, how should that be addressed?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for all candidates what they should or shouldn't address, but I can tell you that, my position is that we know that critical race theory is not being taught in K through 12 schools, that in fact, it's a lens that's taught in some higher education legal studies courses. So really, I guess I would say I think that that's sort of enough to address it. And if we talk about it too much more than that, then what we're doing is really kind of shifting the focus away from these serious issues that we do need to be focusing on, like the other candidates have been discussing, mental health issues and my emphasis on grade level reading and career success. I mean, like, these are issues that are actually affecting the students in our community and really communities throughout the country. And if we spend too much time, energy, and resources talking about these other distractions, then I think we're just not going to have enough time and space to address the real issues that we need to be focusing on.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Singleton, same question?
Yeah, it's a non-issue. It's not taught. It's never been taught. The Ron DeSantis outlawed it. It's done. I, as a person of color and the unofficial sometimes face of CRT, I'm personally tired of having to address it. It's a non-issue. And like Lauren said, there's so many other things we could be and should be talking about instead of this.
Ms. Zetek?
Without planning, we're saying the same thing, and that is the governor has made it a moot point. So I don't want to waste time on topics that we don't have any control over. What I will say is everything throughout my career, whenever I heard anything, I always said, when? Give me information. When did it happen? Where did it happen? What time? Who was there? That's how we should be governing, is dealing with real factual information. The lift that we have to do for every child in our district is heavy. It's important that we focus on solutions to real problems. That's what I would like. So give me the data and I will attack any issue that's there, but I need to have it be something that we actually have real issue on and not just conversations people are having.
Okay, well, thank you very much. All right, in closing, one final question for each candidate. This is a 2-minute response. We'll start with Ms. Zetek. Please summarize why you feel you are the best choice for this office.
Age. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I am the best candidate because I was made for this. This is my wheelhouse. I would never run for anything. My battle cry has been that if I could do 5 rigorous interviews, I would have done it. I believe that I'm stepping so far out of my comfort zone to run for office that alone should mean something. But all kidding aside, all of my experiences since I was a little child, all the way up to now, is I always want to enhance someone else's life using my skill set. And so I feel that all of my experiences growing up as a poor kid, one of 10, realizing how people make decisions based on who you are, where you live, and make decisions that aren't okay. There have been many aha moments for me in my life. And I will tell you that one that stands out is when my guidance counselor in high school, my dad was the custodian there. He told me I couldn't go to college because no one in my family went to college. No one talked about it. And he was very clear on not guiding me there. He told me, you need to go to BOCES, go learn a trade. I said, I'm not any good with my hands. I will never forget that. And then when he saw me later on and asked me what I was doing as I was in jeans and a sweatshirt at a basketball game at the high school, it was with great joy that I got to say, you know, that middle school down the street, I'm the principal. So I always made sure that was a lens I use with children. Let's make sure we don't make decisions for children. Let's make decisions with children. Let's look at them even from preschool and say, are we exposing them to every opportunity so that they can decide with support who they can be and have them be amazing people? So whether I'm on the dais or not, I will continue feeding the lambs.
Thank you very much. Ms. Singleton. 2 minutes.
So I'm the best candidate for District 1 because I believe in public schools and public school education. I do not want to dismantle them. I support our teachers and administrators. I think they deserve the best. They deserve all of our support. I do not want to undermine them. And I want to protect our most vulnerable students and not target them. I will support efforts that will encourage each and every student in the district to do the best and to be their best. I want to support their families as well. This is an opportunity for our community to come together and to try to heal after so much has been happening. I know this community, I'm from this community, this is my community, and I will fight hard and work for each and every child. in the school district. And I am the best candidate because representation matters. And I want that seat. I will be in that seat to do the best for all the children. This is history in the making on so many levels, and we will do it, and I will be successful on August 23rd.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Kernoff, to you.
So, thank you. Well, I am the best candidate for the seat in District 4 because I am a native of Sarasota. So I grew up in this community, deeply invested, deep roots in this community. My parents live here. My grandmother lives here now. My aunt and uncle live here now. My in-laws live here now. So we are deeply connected and invested in this community. I'm the only candidate or sitting school board member with kids that attend our public schools. So I really do have skin in the game, and I care deeply from a parent perspective as well as an educator perspective about the success of our students. In terms of my professional experience and what I bring to the table, my background, my focus on career development, I think would be a tremendous enhancement for our students and our school district. We really are not tracking post-secondary outcomes, and we're really doing a disservice to our students and to our business community. We hear all the time from employers that there's a serious brain drain in our community, and that it takes employers months, years, in some instances, to fill certain positions. And so we really need to have better conversations and greater synergy between our business community and the jobs that exist in our community and the skills that are needed by employers in our community and what we're doing in our schools to prepare our students for jobs that actually exist. So that's a lot of the work that I've done in our community, a lot of volunteer management experience too. So I have a real interest in engaging retired CEOs and mentors in our community to fill some of these gaps and mentor our students. So I think that real kind of focus on career development and opportunities to get our students having more experiential learning experience would be of great benefit to the students of our system.
Well, thank you very much. That is the end of the questions. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Sarasota County, I again thank you, our candidates, and our audience for attending this forum. I hope you all attendees feel like I do, that I have learned a tremendous amount about the candidates and their qualifications and their interests and their passion about running for this office, and I wish you all the best of luck. Please remember that early voting runs from August 13th through August 21st, and that Election Day is August 23rd. If anyone needs information about voting in Sarasota County, the Sarasota Supervisor of Elections website is sarasotavotes.gov. Also, the league has information on the website of the local league. That's our league, and it's lwvsrq.org. And there's also a very good tool that is available through any of the league levels, national, state, and local, called vote411.org, where anyone can find more information about the races that are on the ballot. We hope this forum has added to your knowledge of the candidates and what they will contribute as members of the Sarasota County School Board. Have a nice evening, everyone, and please encourage everyone you know who is eligible to vote to vote. Good night.
Vote.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Margaret.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you so much.